Let's do business. It's Business Incorporated, 25 minutes to give you update from the world of business. I'm Ini John Mekwan. This is what we have prepared for you on this episode of the program. Renewable energy investments receives a boost, and that's in Egypt. And UAE and Japan affirmed up 700 million investments. And in Ghana, digital currency exchange is getting an improvement. Welcome to the program. Let's head straight into business with oil prices. It rose on Monday after officials said that the U.S. had intercepted an oil tanker in international waters off the coast of Venezuela, raising fears of supply disruption. The U.S. Coast Guard is pursuing an oil tanker in international waters that's near Venezuela in what would be the second of such operation over the weekend and the third in less than 2 weeks. Look at the numbers, how that's been affected. We see Brent up 1.16% in the green, and it's gone up to $61.17 a barrel. WTI is also up 1.17% at $57.18 a barrel. Rebound in oil prices has been sparked by our U.S. President Donald Trump, his announcement of a total and complete blockade of sanctioned Venezuelan oil tankers and subsequent developments there, followed by reports of a Ukrainian drone strike on a Russian shadow fleet vessel in the Mediterranean. And U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff said that talks between the U.S. and European and Ukrainian officials in Florida over the past 3 days in an effort to end Russia's war in Ukraine had focused on aligning positions. In the metal space, gold crossed the 4,400 per ounce level for the first time today, propelled by expectations of a U.S. rate cut and continued safe haven buying, while silver followed suit, soaring to a new record high. So we see spot gold at $4,413.01 after it gained 1.7%. U.S. gold also up more than 1%, almost 1.5%. It's $4,446.70. As for silver, 2.8% up, is $68.98 a barrel. Platinum is 4.2% in the green, over $2,000 a soon for $2,056.06, and palladium 2.8% also. We see the surge in the metals, and Federal Reserve Governor Stephen Moran has reiterated that the U.S. Central Bank should cut interest rates because inflation has cooled and monetary policy needs to offset risks to the job market. We know we're expecting job data on Christmas Day. And then while gold is seen as a hedge against inflation and a safe haven against uncertain times, the non-yielding asset also tends to benefit in lower interest rate environments. A consortium of United Arab Emirates and Japanese companies, they've launched a $700 million renewable energy project in Egypt, and they're advancing regional cooperation in clean energy and bolstering Egypt's power capacity. The project, led by UAE-based Amir Power and Japan's Hyundai International Corporation, in partnership with International Finance Corporation, that's IFC, they will construct a 1,000-megawatt solar photovoltaic plant alongside a 600 megawatts hour per hour battery energy storage system, and is set to begin commercial operations by June next year, 2026. The initiative aligns with Egypt's broader energy strategy to diversify its power mix, reduce reliance on fossil fuels, and enhance energy security amid rising demand. The project marks another milestone in UAE-Japan cooperation on sustainable infrastructure in Africa. Egypt continues to attract foreign investments across the energy sector, while also managing other energy deals, including a natural gas commercial agreement recently highlighted by government officials, underscoring the country's role as a pivotal energy hub in the region. Israel has officially approved a record-setting natural gas export agreement with Egypt, and it's valued at approximately $35 billion, and it marks the largest energy export deal in the country's history. The approval was announced by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and following the signing of the contract earlier in August involving major energy firms. Under the agreement, Israel will supply up to 130 billion cubic meters of natural gas from its offshore field to Egypt through 2040 or until the contract value is fulfilled. The deal is set to run for around 15 years and will be carried out by U.S. energy giant Chevron in partnership with Israeli companies Newman Energy and Ratio. Ethiopia and Kenya formalized a simplified border trade regime. They call it STBR, and it's aimed at expanding cross-border commerce, enhancing economic opportunities for local traders, and strengthening bilateral ties. The agreement was signed in Addis Ababa by Ethiopia's Minister of Trade and Regional Integration and Kenya's Cabinet Secretary for Investments, Trade and Industry. The new trade regime is designed to simplify procedures for small-scale traders along the shared border, reduce bureaucratic barriers, and foster a more regulated and formal trading environment by easing customs formalities, reducing paperwork, and harmonizing a common list of eligible products and trade thresholds. And the deal is expected to significantly boost trade flows between the two East African neighbors. It's a holiday-shortened week, but at least we have the market trading today. So let's see what the numbers look like. At intraday, the market opened in the green. All-share index in Nigeria up 27 basis points, and performance seemed positive across most sectors, from insurance to banking, industrial goods. Industrial goods had the highest movement, positive movement, 91 basis points. Consumer goods, however, was down, and that puts the all-share index at 0.26% in the green for intraday at 152,457.70. In Johannesburg, South Africa is also positive at intraday 0.53%. We've seen quick movement in South Africa in the last, I think last week, most of that movement happened last week. So it's now 115,463.20. In Egypt, it's however negative intraday 0.07% in the red, and Kenya closed the market on Friday 0.39% in the green. That's at 184.55. Moving over to the Middle East, we see all positive sentiment in major markets right there. So we see Dubai positive, 6,133.67. Abu Dhabi is also positive, more than 0.5%, 10,025.02. Saudi Arabia positive 0.28% in the green, as well as Qatar. Qatar looks much better than that, 0.79% in the green, 10,801.39. And then in the United States, the traders are there deliberating whether tech can regain its footing before the year ends. You know how many days we have left for trading in the year. But we see mostly positive sentiment for the futures at the United States. The Dow Jones is positive 0.10. S&P is also positive 0.36. NASDAQ more than 0.5% in the positive. Wall Street is coming off a mixed week for the major averages. A late week surge in the tech stocks last week helped to lift the S&P 500 and NASDAQ Composite to their third winning week in 4. That was at the close of trade. Artificial intelligence stocks we saw received a lot of attention. It enjoyed a resurgence towards the end of last week after that recent underperformance. Shares of Oracle, major laggard, jumped after TikTok agreed to sell its U.S. operations to a new joint venture that includes a software giant and private equity firm Silver Lake. NVIDIA also made a comeback. So we saw all those stocks moving the market and changing sentiment towards the end of last week and flowing into the features today. We go to Asia and see how that market is at the close of trade. Investors are past this China's central bank's decision to keep its loan prime rate steady. So we see what that means in numbers. We see it means almost 2% for China, the Nikkei, 1.81% at 50,402.39. Kospi, even better than that, 2.12% in the green, while the Hang Seng is 0.43% in the green at the close of trade right there. In Shanghai, it's also green, as well as for India and Nifty 50. Both of them looking very green right there at the close of trade. Now, let's see what's happening in Europe. And we have joining us Lars to tell us what's going on there. Hi, Lars. Welcome from the weekend. I wonder what investors are doing. It's a shortened week. I know a lot of people have their attention on Christmas. I cannot hear you, Lars. I think you should check the mute button or so.
Okay,
great.
I just see that they're working on it. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I'm terribly sorry about that. This is the technical mishaps we have to be dealing with sometimes.
Yeah, I
well,
know,
anyway,
right?
I guess you're right. People might be out there in the stores shopping for Christmas, because I can tell you where they're not. They are not in Frankfurt, so they're not on their computers trading, because we really don't see much going on in markets. We do see markets down across Europe, but only by fractions, by a 0.1% here, by 0.2% there. Anyway, between London, Paris, really, and in Frankfurt. And it doesn't really look like markets will be picking up speed in those last few days of the year either. It's a short week, obviously, as you mentioned, of course, because of Christmas in the next week, another short week, of course. For now, we're seeing defense stocks under pressure. That I can tell you, that is really the only sector that is seeing a little bit. That's, of course, as many are still expecting a ceasefire in Ukraine, maybe even a peace deal. That has put pressure on some of those companies that have made a lot of money during the conflict. Even though, you need to be fair, they will keep doing very good business, as, of course, the military is still investing lots of money in Germany and in other EU countries as well. But this is really the only thing we're seeing right now. Other than that, it's all pretty flat.
Yeah, okay, but still connected to the peace deal and on all of that, Europe had agreed on a financial aid package for Ukraine, but it seems it didn't go as planned.
No, indeed. But, let's start with the good news here. Yes, the European Union has decided to grant that interest-free credit in the amount of 90 billion euros to Ukraine. And that means a financial help is coming, and not a day too soon. Ukraine's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, had warned his allies across Europe that his country was running out of funds and would have to end the production of drones soon. Drones that it so urgently needs to defend itself against Russia. Now they're getting these 90 billion euros, interest-free, like I said, for 2 years, and all of it is financed by the EU taking on debt, which again is then guaranteed by the EU budget. Now, for the not so good news, this constructs sending money in form of a credit. That is actually what some of the member nations had called a Plan B. The initial idea that Germany and some others had preferred was to use frozen Russian assets to support Ukraine. Some 210 billion euros are frozen in European accounts. Most of that money is in Belgium. And many had thought it fair to use this money taken from the aggressor to help Ukraine. After all, they're expecting Russia to eventually pay reparations to Ukraine anyways, though there would have been a legal and an ethical argument behind this kind of action, even though, of course, the whole idea is still risky and an end of the ongoing conflict right now is not really in sight.
Well, I know they've been talking about, using the Russian frozen assets and all for a bit, but I guess there are lots of legalities around it. I mean, the EU members, why didn't they go for Plan A?
Well, simple answer, because Belgium blocked it. Most of the frozen Russian assets are actually there. As I said, they're with Euroclear. Now, that is definitely not a household name and not even a name most people in business and the financial world would recognize. Now, Euroclear is a global provider of financial market infrastructure and especially services cross-border securities transactions. And that is where the Russian assets are. And the Belgian government was afraid that if they were handed over to Ukraine, that Russia might sue them and that the responsibility for the entire transaction would then fall on Belgium. So they had asked for unlimited guarantees from EU partners to help them out. That was tricky, and in the end, it was actually Hungary, usually the EU member country that is closest aligned with Moscow. It was Hungary that brought up the idea of a credit as an alternative method, and in the end, that was voted on, confirmed, and that's what's now in place.
Thank you so much for that. We pray for peace, and we hope that everything can be balanced out at the end of the day.
Certainly, Ini. Thank you very much. Good talking to you.
Same here. All right, now for our DSTV viewers, we have to lead you to Rivers State, where there's the commissioning of the permanent secretary's quarters. That's happening in Rivers State, of course, by the governor there, Governor Similaye Fubara. But that's for our DSTV viewers. For all the viewers, we continue right here with Business Incorporated. And moving to the crypto space, that's where we're going to next on Business Incorporated. We start from Ghana. I mean, the Ghanaian government is really taking the crypto talk really, really seriously. Before we get to that, Ladi was celebrating the recovery of Bitcoin on 90,000, and I said I was going to celebrate that. We've done much better than this. I'll be patient enough to hit a new high. But we see Bitcoin looking green. In 24 hours, it's gained more than 1%, 1.38%, and it's recovered the 90,000 level. Hopefully that will be sustained maybe until Christmas or something. Ethereum is it's almost 2% up, but I mean, look at the numbers, 3,058.80. BNB's green, Hive, and Cardano and all of that. But I think the more interesting story at this time is what Ghana is doing, being that they're the closest English-speaking country to Nigeria. I guess that's why I piqued my interest, because the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Pandit Asiama, has announced that the cryptocurrency trading has been legalized in Ghana following the passage of the Virtual Asset Service Providers Bill 2025. It's now a law in Ghana. Explains that the new legislation, commonly referred to as the crypto law, provides a formal regulatory framework to supervise virtual asset activities and manage the risks associated with digital currencies. And Dr. Chema said that the move ends uncertainty surrounding crypto transactions while allowing the authorities to enforce oversight and consumer protection across the country. On consumer protection, Dr. Chema stated that the legislation of the cryptocurrency trading does not amount to a free-for-all, but rather there is the introduction of a firm rule to protect consumers and the financial system. Really interesting there, how Ghana is forging forward on its virtual asset. And then also in Hong Kong Insurance Authority, they're proposing a slate of new rules to channel insurance capital into assets, which include cryptocurrencies and infrastructure. It's an unprecedented move that would redirect funds to government's prioritized sectors. Insurance regulator would impose a 100% risk charge on crypto assets, according to the presentation that has been done, and stablecoin investment would attract risk charges based on the fiat currency that the Hong Kong regulated stablecoin is pegged to. Interesting there, new rules, regulation, and more attention given to cryptocurrency. I wonder what 2026 will look like. And away from that, Indonesia's Financial Services Authority, they've whitelisted 29 licensed digital assets and crypto trading platforms to ensure regulatory compliance and investor protection. And this list is released under new rules and helps users identify legitimate exchanges amid growing crypto adoption in the country. And OJK's regulation number 2322/2025 is a comprehensive measure to regulate digital financial assets. So we see a lot of regulation going on right there. I wonder what the story would be for 2026. I wonder if Rume can tell us more. Hi, Rume. Been a while. Compliments of the season. Hello, Rume. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you very much, Ini. Thank you very much. Thank you for the kind words, the compliments too as well.
Thank you.
You asked a question.
Yeah, Rume, look at what Ghana is doing. Rume, look at what Ghana is doing. I mean, it's really challenging. I think they started this even after Nigeria, but they are not resting and they're just pushing forward. Now they're putting very firm structure and legal framework for their virtual assets, especially cryptocurrency.
Yeah, this is what we've been talking about. This is what we've been talking about in this platform over time, that we are running late. We have to lead. Unfortunately, our neighbors, Ghana, is actually doing the work. And it's also good that rather than people, innovators from Nigeria, go to Malta and some other places in Europe, they could go to Ghana to do stuff, because at the end of the day, Africa tends to benefit from all of these things. Fantastic stuff that Ghana is doing. And I'm so happy that you are the one reading this or talking about this right now, because when we're talking about in the past that Nigeria is slowing, it's looking as if we're only talking about the fact that, oh, there's going to be fraud, or they're doing their due diligence. But for crying out loud, this is too much. The SEC needs to double down. The CBN needs to do a lot of work. Ghana is ahead of us, take it or leave it. The bill, before it became law, talked about a whole lot of things as well as education. But according to the central bank chief in Ghana, they are in for a big showtime, because investors are going to come to Ghana. Are going to see Ghana as the next destination when it comes to this innovative tech. And the truth is that we've had a lot of front and back. I mean, these foreigners and investors have actually seen that Nigeria, though a big market, but they're not ready. So smaller countries are going to take the opportunity. See, a country like Kenya is also doing a whole lot to make sure they come into the bigger picture for them to, because the idea is position yourself in a way that investors come in to get the very best of the industry and actually improve on your economy. I say this specifically because at this point in time, I believe this government need to focus on how to improve on the economy, and innovative tech like digital asset, blockchain technology, and a couple of other things are the way to go. With our population of 18 to 35, which amounts to more than 60%, about 60%, it means that we are going to use this very well to the betterment of ourselves. But we are for no reason wasting time, wasting serious time, and time is very essential because we can't get it back.
With money, I mean, so what do you think that perhaps, and who do you think, because we know when we talk to Dr. Agama, the DG of SEC, he sounds really interested, and we've had some talks that's supposed to bring action to this digital space, digital asset space. What would you like to see as we get into 2026? You think I know Ghana is ahead of us now, unfortunately, but maybe buy us some time, get us some wins.
Fantastic stuff, Ini. I think there was a hearing by the House of Rep where key stakeholders actually assembled to see how far we can do a few things, which I actually love. It shows that there's a commitment from the National Assembly, which I think right now they need to even double down on. But the truth is, I understand what the SEC is going through. The SEC is to regulate side-by-side industry stakeholders, right? But again, I think it's looking like it's beyond the SEC. I think the Office of the National Security Advisor and the central bank need to come together and give us where to go, because right now it's looking like we don't know where we're going. Although I think it's a political will, but I think if things are done right, it makes a whole lot of sense to the present government of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. So wasting time now, I'm scared about all of this that is going on, because we're losing an opportunity that gives this administration a chance for going to a second term bid. So it's something that they need to bring stakeholders to say, okay, where we need to go. I will propose a situation where we have a bill that actually becomes law eventually around the nitty-gritty of cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, blockchain, and all of this, because this is a career, an industry of its own that is big. For what Ghana did, they came up with the idea that they could put fuse education in their schools to educate young people. We should be doing all of this. We should be leading all of this. But where it is now, I suggest that the central bank, in collaboration with the Office of the National Security Advisor, need to put all of the, cross all of the T's and dot all of the I's so that we understand what is going. Because I understand that paraventure, they are doing their own due diligence, which make a lot of sense. But the truth is, front and back, this has been going on for a long time. Remember in the last administration, crypto was banned in this country. That was a disaster. And I think this administration don't want to repeat that mistake, but we are racing for time and they need to do it constructively.
one day and try to call you and you say, oh, sorry, I've relocated to Ghana because because that's where the laws favor your business, rumor. I hope we'll still have you here, talking and looking for a better environment for the digital assets investments.
So Ghana is a country I think I liked before now, and I'm going to love them now because what they're doing.
Be patriotic, rumor, be patriotic. And thank you so much. I wish you the very best this season.
Thank you very much, Ine. It's my pleasure.
All right. Well, just before we go, I believe we have a message from Dangote Refinery that they would like for me to share with you. It's from Dangote Petroleum Refinery, and they would like to inform members of the public that petrol minimum order quantity used to be 500,000. It's no longer 500,000. You can buy lower than that now. It's 250,000 liters for gantry price of 699 naira for a liter. And they also say that you can enjoy additional volume-based discount on your purchase. And this is for all existing and new customers. They can now purchase 250,000 liters with the benefits of a 10-day credit facility that's backed with a bank guarantee. And Dangote says free delivery to your stations also starting soon. And if you look at that screen very well, there are some numbers there, an email address through which you can reach if you want to get more information on this. Is a message from Dangote Petroleum Refinery. Another Christmas gift, I guess. Well, that's it on the program. Thank you so much for being a part of Business Incorporated. I'm John Mekwa. It's been a pleasure bringing this to you as we count down to Christmas. Enjoy yourselves.